Welcome back. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister stay with me after she got married and demanded I adjust my lifestyle for her husband? Okay, so I, 28 female, have a pretty established routine. I live alone in a 2-bedroom apartment, and while I'm not a neat freak, I like my space to be organized and have a certain vibe to it. Think minimalistic, calm, and quiet. My sister, 30 female, recently got married to this guy, 31 male, who I barely know. They live about 3 hours away, and since their wedding a month ago, she's been asking to stay with me for a few weeks. Normally, I would be fine with it. I love my sister, but there's a catch. When I agreed, she dropped the bomb that she's bringing her husband with her. Apparently, he doesn't feel comfortable being alone for extended periods, so she wants me to adjust my lifestyle for them as a couple. This means rearranging my apartment for them, having quiet hours during the day because he works from home, and no longer playing music or hosting friends when they're around. Oh, and she suggested I stop using the guest room for my own hobbies, which is how I unwind after work. Basically, I'm supposed to cater to their needs and make space for their relationship. I told her I wasn't comfortable with that, especially since I don't even know her husband that well and wasn't planning on making my home into a mini hotel or daycare for them. She got super upset, called me selfish, and said it's just for a couple of weeks, but I'm really not okay with it. I feel like I would be giving up a lot of my personal space and peace of mind just for her convenience. Now she's threatening to not visit at all, and I'm feeling guilty, but also like she's overstepping. So am I the a-hole for refusing to let them stay under these conditions? You're not the a-hole, OP. Your sister was really asking you to make your home a guest house for her husband and her. That's a lot to ask from someone. The fact that you're not even close to her husband makes it even more difficult for you to want him in your space for a couple of weeks, which means you don't even know when they'll leave. It's really odd that your sister wants to come to your house with her husband after their wedding. It's even more odd that she called you selfish when clearly she's the one asking for a lot more than you can give. You're not the a-hole, OP. You did good saying no to her outrightly. Now for some comments. Your sister doesn't want to visit you. She wants to move into your place and make it so you're uncomfortable enough that you just let them have it. She's the one making this an untenable situation and threatening not to visit because you won't make yourself uncomfortable in your own home. Don't feel guilty for her inability to be a rational human being, not the a-hole. Your sister and her husband got evicted from their place and are trying to move into yours. By the way, a few weeks is at minimum a month, and given her reaction to you refusing her ludicrous demands, I would be shocked if it were less than 6 months. So she demands that she and her hubby essentially conquer your house and take over it, then has the gall to call you selfish. She sounds entitled as F. Tell her to make the same request of her new hubby's family and see how it goes, not the a-hole. It seems weird that 1 month after getting married, they want to come spend 2-3 weeks at your home. Something seems fishy. And the non-weird way to visit someone is to adapt to their home and lifestyle, instead of making you change all of that for them. When that isn't possible, the accepted solution is for them to rent an Airbnb. It's certainly not right to make the host turn their life and environment upside down. You're not the a-hole, your sister is. Perhaps even more so for reasons yet to be revealed. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for calling off the engagement after my fiancé kept saying I will give him a baby once we're married? My fiancé, 31 male, and I, 25 female, have been together for 2 years and engaged for 6 months. We've both wanted kids at some point, but never set a specific timeline. Lately, though, he's been making comments about how I'll give him a baby once we're married. The first time I let it go because when he said it another time I joked back, "So that's my job now?" And he just said, "Yeah, you're the one making it." I told him that the way he was wording it was rubbing me the wrong way, and he rolled his eyes and said I was overthinking it. But he said it like that a couple more times later. I started to feel less excited about starting a family. I told him straight up that it was making me uncomfortable after he said it like that again later. He laughed and said, "It's not that deep, that's just how it works." And in that moment, I was starting to feel done. So I called off the engagement. He said I was being ridiculous over a poor choice of words. His family got involved and is telling me that I misunderstood him and that he just meant he was excited to start a family with me. I'm wondering if I overreacted. Am I the a-hole? You're not an a-hole, OP, and you made the right decision calling off the engagement. I totally understand how his words could rub you the wrong way and make you feel alone. That's the last thing anyone going into a marriage and planning to have kids want to feel. The fact that he says it's just words, but he can't be considerate enough to actually stop saying them or word his thoughts better or even reassure you that you won't be alone after you addressed the issue is a big red flag. If all he meant was that he was excited to have a family, I can think of thousands of better ways to say that. He should have thought of them too. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. When people show you who they are, believe them. That's just how it works. No, it's not. A woman doesn't grow and birth a child to give it to a man. He's basically told you that if you marry him, you become nothing more than property to him. Expected to give him whatever he wants whenever he wants it. Run far away. You didn't break it off for a poor choice of words. You broke it off because your partner repeatedly ignored you when you told him he was making you uncomfortable and continued to do it. It doesn't really matter what the thing was he was doing. He does not respect your feelings and doesn't care if something he does upsets you. That's simply not the kind of partner you want to be married to, not the a-hole. Something in your gut is telling you this isn't okay and these are his actual feelings towards you. Sure, his wording could be better, or he could just be making poor choices, but your spidey senses are going off for a reason. Trust them. I say this as someone whose spouse made jokes during my pregnancy, and I joked back in kind. If I ever told him, "Hey, this joke is bothering me and upsets me for whatever reason," he would stop immediately. I asked to not joke about a specific thing we had been joking about the entire time because it started to bother me. He quit immediately. He respected me enough to listen. At the very least with this guy, he doesn't respect you enough to stop. That alone is enough of a reason to run, not the a-hole. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for being an ungrateful daughter? Tonight I visited my mother and younger brothers at their house. While there, my mother dropped a wrapped gift in my lap and insisted I open it then and there despite previously made plans for me to host Christmas at my new house with everyone. She wouldn't take no for an answer. The gift inside was a hideous purple Walmart dress not in my size. The texture of the fabric immediately made me want to scrub my hands. I admit I could have reacted more enthusiastically. I just did not have the energy in me to fake it. My mother was obviously upset at my less than ecstatic reaction. She got very flustered and told me I was free to return it, but she did not have a receipt for the item and couldn't I just try to like it? Couldn't I just try to appreciate her taste in gifts for once? This sounds like making a mountain out of a molehill, but this has been a pattern for a long time. Previously, gifts have included dollar store jewelry that causes me to break out in a rash. Multiple years, multiple conversations on why she never saw me wear it. Lip gloss that she had opened and liked, etc. Nearly every time she will take the gifts back for herself under the guise that at least someone, herself, will get use out of it. This would be one thing if these things came from an acquaintance that did not know me well, but my mother has known me for 29 years. She was there growing up as the cheap costume jewelry she insisted I wear kept causing infections in my ears. She was there when as a toddler I would scratch myself bloody over clothing textures. She has never in my entire life seen me voluntarily wear makeup. I put a lot of thought into the gifts I give. I shop through the year, never leaving things to the last minute. I keep a list on my phone of things people in my life mention they'd like or would buy for themselves if they could justify the spending. I know I shouldn't hold other people to the same standards I hold myself to. I know I should have just sucked it up and acted my heart out and quietly donated the dress later, but I could use some perspective and maybe some advice. Reddit, am I the a-hole for hating the gifts my mother gives me? Edit. Whoa, you guys have given me a lot to think about. I do think having a sit down with my mother, not during an emotionally fraught holiday, is in order. For the record, I do not feel entitled to any gifts from anyone during the lead up to Christmas and birthdays. I do convey when prompted that I am too old for presents, that I don't need more stuff, that I appreciate the thought, but please do not buy me things. I tell family and friends I'm happy just to spend the special day with them, that if they feel to hand over a physical gift, I'm happy to take a card. I have a display of them going back 10 years. I should also note that no, my mother is not extremely impoverished. She lives well, not rich, but not hurting for money. The rashes I get come from eczema. I should have said fabric rather than texture. I think after the holidays, I'm going to sit down with her and tell her face to face that while I love the heart that goes into the spirit of gift giving, I would rather she skipped a step and got something to pamper herself. Edit to the edit. I took my mother out for brunch to apologize and reiterate that I do not need gifts, and that I especially do not need gifts that cause a painful rash. Finally got to the root of the problem. According to her, I can't possibly have a reaction to nickel plating or polyester because she touched it and was fine with it, and therefore I do not have the genetic component to have that happen. The reason she keeps pushing jewelry that reacts with my eczema, makeup that reacts with my eczema, dresses in fabrics that react with my eczema on me is because if I don't embrace my femininity, I'm clearly going to turn into a big ol' lesbian. That's it. Mystery solved. If I don't stop going around in jeans and cotton t-shirts in my bare face, unadorned by glittery things, I will never ever be able to snag a man and begin my duty to provide her with grand babies. The horror. She used the word heterophobic, which I've never heard out loud before, and it's just as stupid sounding as you can imagine. I do admit I lost it driving home and yelled, "You're still not listening, so maybe we're both a-holes," but I sure know where I got it from. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole, but if there is a pattern, you would be the a-hole if you don't say anything outright. Example, Mom, I appreciate the thought, but the items themselves I wouldn't use. Or I appreciate you getting me something, but you don't have to. This really depends on how you feel regarding receiving the gift. If you feel you deserve something from your mother every year that you would use, that seems a far cry given her pattern. Not the a-hole. My grandma does the same thing. The weirdest, most unusable gifts in the world. We just accept them with a fake smile and donate. Your mom may be doing it intentionally, or she may really be as clueless as she sounds. I just stop expecting anything decent. Smile when you open it and return or donate it ASAP. To me, it's not worth the stress of confrontation. Just sadly lower your expectations. I felt like I was reading something I've written, not the a-hole in my opinion. My mom does something similar. I've told her multiple times something I disliked and she would still purchase or try and give me said item as a surprise. Or I've specifically shown her exactly what I wanted in something and she got me something totally different that she liked, and then was offended when I didn't have it on display. It sucks when your parents won't just listen to you, and no matter how kind you try and be about it, you somehow come out as an a-hole. I would recommend any more just accepting the gift, saying thanks, and just trashing or donating it. There's only so many times you can communicate your feelings and have them go unheard.